Hello everyone, and welcome to our game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from Striker 49, and he is in the Udaloi, a tier 9 Russian destroyer. He's on the map the Atlantic, in a 3-point domination game. So there is a carrier, but it's only tier 8, there's only one raider, a Buffalo, and that Buffalo, well, we know where he is, but he's not here just yet. And it looks like Fletcher has been found. The carrier is doing a good job spotting there and going after Fletcher, and obviously our Udaloi is merrily shooting that. Now an Edinburgh appears, which is a bit, well, it might be a problem, but he can just drop back into concealment. And as long as the Buffalo doesn't arrive, he should be fine. He can now even use the Fletcher smoke, which is quite nice. And the carrier is coming in again. The Fletcher is not inside her own smoke. And okay, the Seattle used Raider here. Very exactly, like, I feel like the Seattle used a Raider way too early. By the way, on the minimap there is this like lovely little symbol here on the top right, where you can change a few things here. You definitely want, for example, ship names activated, because otherwise you can, like, it's very important, for example, to see that this was the Buffalo down here. That's also why it's very important to have the positions of the last spotted positions of ships. That's, I think, how it's called, active. I think you do that in the main menu, by the way. But yeah, you need to know like that the Buffalo was around here, and you need to know, like, with a glance of the minimap, where the raider ships are. Also, what started this whole well, excursion here, I guess, you can activate those circles, like your spotting distance or your radar distance. So it's very easy, like you see the last spotted position of that Fletcher, you see your own radar range, and then you can, with one glance of the minimap, know if it's already time to radar or if you're too far away. So, having all said that, meanwhile, well, nothing really happened. So our Udaloi is still here. This little gap here is where you hunker down, usually, if you get radared, because it provides cover from most sides. Obviously, if the enemy is pushed too far in flank, and oh, we're going to lose a Yamato here. Now, this Yamato, I mean, I understand why I wanted to push. There were 2 cruisers and a battleship. Well, he had 1 cruiser, 2 cruisers, battleship, and a destroyer. And he had, yeah, the Montana is a little bit too far away to call it support, I suppose. But the Seattle and the Udaloi were here. The problem is the Yamato pushed into a Fletcher and a Buffalo, and he had no way to detect torpedoes, and that's rough, because it happened exactly what you'd expect would happen if a destroyer is on your flank and can torpedo you while you go straight ahead with the same coursing speed. He just got wrecked. Now thankfully that Fletcher is getting ranked, and I'm not even sure why, because it doesn't look like the Seattle raid that. So yeah, well, I mean, that Fletcher, we'll take it. I mean, there will be a lot of things happening that make no sense in this replay, or that are at least funny. But so far, it's like the friendlies got the caps, the enemy got the one-ship advantage, nothing too serious has happened other than that. The friendly Seattle is in a tight spot, the friendly Montana is too far in the back to help. Now this was a situation where, for example, right, if that Montana was a little bit more aggressive and the Yamato was a little bit more passive, then it would have been beautiful. If, like, both ships held position, maybe at the edge of the cap, then, you know, they would have been in far less torpedo threat. The Seattle was kind of blocking this flank here from, so the destroyer couldn't go around, and then they could have just probably farmed the cruisers and then maybe pushed the battleship or something. But, you know, things like that rarely happen, I suppose. Now, meanwhile, our Udaloi is just farming the... well, farming, he is chipping away at the Buffalo. And since nobody is shooting him, there really is no reason for him to, well, do anything, I guess. Like, he doesn't need to smoke here or find island cover, he can just sit here merrily and shoot a Buffalo. Now, taking out this Buffalo will be huge, because it, well, takes away the enemy raider. And that will make the rest of the game much more pleasant. Now, the Udaloi is a very bad concealment. But he does have a smoke screen. The thing is, obviously in the sea cap, the bad concealment didn't matter because he had this lovely iron position, so very good start from our Udaloi there earlier. And well, meanwhile the friendly teams just seems to be melting, which is never a good thing. But on the bright side, the Buffalo is going down. Now the Buffalo doesn't really have anything to shoot at this point, except the Udaloi, so the Buffalo finally is trying to retaliate. But you know, a bit too late for that. Now we have the friendly Montana pushing in here. There is 2 North Carolinas kind of around. Montana might have to be careful not to show broadside to one of them, but that North Carolina is retreating, so the Montana should be able to clear out this North Cal. And who knows, maybe our Udaloi can top the other North Cal. Now the friendlies are still ahead on points and on caps, but they are 1 ship behind. I guess 1 ship behind isn't the worst. The enemy team is completely out of destroyers and the friendlies still have 2. Which should certainly be helpful. Now, one of our destroyers here is kind of squished against the zone wall, like... he's detected by the North. Now, he has 8-kilometer torps, right? And the North Cal is sailing away, so he decides to not launch here because it's probably pretty pointless. Now, the Benham here, as I was saying earlier, he has to be careful that he isn't getting, like, pushed... into a corner there, because the Horn probably has Hydro, and we all know German Hydro is pretty powerful. But we will see. Meanwhile, well, Udaloi, Russian destroyer, he's just doing his open water gunboating against the North Cal while under attack from some planes, so I guess pretty standard thing here. There shouldn't be too much that can shoot him other than the North Cal, so should be fine here. And he's going to speed boost, probably just to be able to better dodge incoming shells if they are ever incoming. Now the North Cal in the north got taken care of, so that's lovely. And the ships are pretty even right now. Now the Benham here in the south, the biggest problem this Benham has is so far away from all friendlies, and if like, and he's getting chased by all. Now if like the carrier comes in and spots this Benham, then he has a problem, because if he slows down and smoke, the Horn will catch him with Hydro. And well, if he doesn't slow down and smoke, the carrier keeps him spotted and the Horn will just farm him. So basically, if the enemy carrier goes down there, and the Benham is screwed and he has no way to escape this situation. I haven't really watched how he ended up here, but the Benham should probably have tried to stay more on the friendly side. But you know, the enemy carrier thankfully is busy with the Udaloi, so instead of taking care of that Benham, and the Benham really needs to get away from those zone walls and give himself room to maneuver to run away from the Horn. So meanwhile though, the enemy battleships are taking the center. Now the friendly carrier is going in here and trying to interrupt. I mean, it's 2 battleships, it shouldn't be too hard to stop them from camping. We have 2 friendly battleships here who could meet those. How healthy are our friends here? Well, the Yamato is getting kinda low, the Montana is still pretty healthy. So, oh, that's 1 less Yamato. So I guess the friendly Yamato was showing there too much broadside. But we still have a Montana. Now Montana versus 2 battleships, yeah, that's not... It won't go well for the friendlies, and that's why our Udaloi is charging in here. Now in order to take down those guys, he needs to torpedo them. He can't just wait until these guys found the Montana. The friendly Montana goes full broadside, because that's what you do if you're facing 2 enemy battleships at close range. You just go full broadside. I mean, how could this ever go wrong, right? And here we are, the YOLO rush, I guess we call it, is coming. Now Udaloi has 3 torpedo launches, 1 that can go both sides and then 1 on each side, so 1 launcher is a waste. He still has 2 left. The Montana there barely survived, now he can finish that off, and this Yamato is just charging the friendly Montana. It looks like the friendly Montana is not just broadside but beached broadside. And the Yamato's guns are not pointing this way. So far this is working splendidly, I guess. And there are... the enemy carrier gets in on it too. Yamato's secondaries are still shooting him, but don't think Yamato guns are turning this way. The friendly Montana is still in a pretty bad spot there. Still, like, Montana is almost down. And is he really going to ram? Is he going to ram the... He rammed the 3000 health Montana. So I guess those guys were battling who wanted to play this verse. I think the enemy Yamato won, but I'm not sure. Like, the friendly battleship beached itself in front of 2 enemy battleships, and somehow he survived long enough to get rammed by one of a battleship that had tremendously more health than he did. So, yeah. Now, the enemy has 2 caps and 1 more ship, but the friendlies have more points. So what the Udaloi needs to do now is block the B camp. There's just one little problem, and that's called a carrier, and that carrier might just interrupt him. But then again, he has 3 smokes left. And I guess this should have went into the team chat as I tried to camp. So a bit of a mistake there. On the other hand, I mean, it's going to be pretty obvious that he is camping in a few seconds, so I guess not too much loss there. Not to mention that the carrier knew his last position and was on the way here already to spot. So, well, carrier is spotting him. North Carolina is coming this way, and he's deploying his smoke here, trying to take this cap, because that's what they need. Now, the enemy is still behind. If he manages to flip this cap, that would be lovely, but it's going to be tough. Now, the Ron that was on a Benham hunt is probably, I mean, where else would he go? He's coming this way, but we don't know how far away the Ron is right now. And once again, like Ron, well, I don't know if he has Hydro, I'm just assuming. That could be a problem. Now, the North Carol charging could also be a problem, because that smoke won't last forever, right? And it's not just that the Udaloi is bad concealment, it's also that the enemy carrier will just be waiting for this. So the enemy North Cal is, well, obviously under attack from the carrier and under attack from the Udaloi. He can flip the cap though before the North Cal arrives. Torps up on the way. So North Cal is... well, I mean, it might just be erasing maneuvers, trying to... or is it turning fully? I mean, he could be just trying to stay away a bit. Like, he's about 8 kilometers away, so he is roughly the torpedo range away. Maybe he's like, you know what? I'm just waiting for the smoke to disappear, and then I'm coming back. I mean, that North Cal has no other choice than to push me, because it's the only way they're ever going to win. The friendlies are ahead now, right? So the enemy needs... they either need caps or sink ships, and probably both. So the North Cal dropped into concealment, but that won't last because the carrier will be coming back. The enemy carriers... now the friendly carrier is... well, it's probably a good move, right? He's behind an island, but he's... like, let's check his exact position. Right. So he's behind this island, so he's safe from the North Carol's guns, but he's close enough that his anti-air can help protect the Udaloi. And what the friendlies have to do is, all they have to do is hold on to the B camp, and they are going to win. And, well, not lose ships, I suppose. So, well, the smoke's gone. What's the North Cal doing? The North Cal should really be pushing back in. Now, I understand that the North Cal is getting on low health. He probably shouldn't be showing so much broadsides to Udaloi guns. It might have also helped, because, well, it's like... ammo piercing will chip away of him, even in small chunks. So we don't know where the Ron is. Is the North Cal waiting for the Ron to appear? Like, in an desperate attempt, the enemy carrier is now charging in and trying to take this cap. Now it looks ridiculous. And you might be thinking, like, what's this carrier thinking? But I can tell you probably what he's thinking. He's thinking, if we don't get our butts into a cap soon, there is no way for us to win. Like, the friendlies are already about 100 points ahead. And if that carrier is inside B, then he blocks the cap progress, right? So basically, the friendlies can't get any further ahead. Now, if the enemy team sinks the Udaloi and flips this cap, then they are probably winning. So, Ron coming in. Now, of course, the North Carolina just keeps running away. He didn't wait for the... like... I tried to reason that the North Cal has a good plan, but the North Cal's plan is just disengaging and healing up is oftentimes a valid tactic, but not in this situation. There's 3 minutes left and the enemy needs a camp and they need to sink ships. But mostly they need to sink a ship and stop the progress. The only way the North Kill can help win this is if he's close enough to make sure he can hit this Udaloi. Now Ron is getting pretty close. If he has Hydro running, then yeah, okay, he's going down before he gets too close, so there probably torps have been launched. Now we have that Lexington, middle of nowhere. So that Lexington is probably getting torped. I mean, he tried, you know. The thing is, if the Lexington wasn't in here, you could argue that once the smoke disappears, the Lexington can still hunt down the Udaloi if he is still floating. But you know, the Lexington had a full hit point pool and he could have distracted the Udaloi. Like, if the Udaloi would have shot the Lexington earlier, that would have given the Rhone the time it needed to get close. And the Lexington did block the cap, therefore making it even possible for the enemy to win, like, if they sunk the Udaloi. So, as hilarious as it looks, there was a lot of reasoning behind that Lexington's push. Because, let's be honest, if Lexington stayed away and just tried to sink the Udaloi when the smoke disappears, then we would have lost regardless. So, yeah, I can see, like, credits where credits due. And, well, the enemy North Carolina is, well, I guess he turned around. Now he's turned around, right? He's waited until all of his team was destroyed and now he's turned around. That's, like, I mean, I can understand that he got the heal off meanwhile, but that's so not the point, right? Like, the friendly team would have to choose one thing to shoot at anyway, and the enemy is just like, even the Lexington offered herself up to tank for the team and to block this cap. And if the Northcal would have pushed in with the Rhone, then I mean, he could have blind fired the smoke. And the closer you are, obviously, the higher the chance that you actually get a hit there. If they kept shooting the North Carolina a bit more, like, it distracted them. If the Rhone gotten close enough with a Hydro, like, there were so many chances for the enemy team to pull this back. But the Northcal was like, you know what? Loss it is. So at this point, the enemy team, well, it's basically impossible. Oh wait, why did the Kaga sail around this? Now, I was just saying it's impossible for the friendly team to lose, but this Kaga is, he should be staying behind that island, to be honest. I mean, it's still pretty hard to lose. It's like 36 seconds left, and they are 960. But like, the Northcal needs to sink both of those ships, and he can do with a salvo on both of those, technically. He'd need to blind shot the Udaloi, I guess. But yeah, okay, it's over. Here we are with the results. And Striker earned himself 3,198 base experience, and certainly very well done by him. But at the same time, I feel like the enemy Lexington deserves a shout out there. Actually, I thought that was a pretty genius move there, and that might very well have won the enemies the game. But Striker didn't fall for the trap, the North Carolina just ran away, and in the end, the friendlies took the victory. Striker earned himself an AI defense expert, a Confederate, a Kraken, and a high caliber, scoring 214,000 points of damage. And yeah, hope you enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you guys next time.